The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's get right into an email. An email starts with my favorite topic. It says, "Hey Perch, can you explain why you hate Arby's food so much?" Well, first of all, I object to the question because you use the word food. And let's just stop pretending here. Arby's is not food. It's it is absolutely not fit for human consumption. Any stretch of imagination. Arby's is the place you go to die, and then when you're dead, they process yourself into the food. This is the Soylent Green is future, people. It's not good. What's funny, by the way, is of course, I'm sure they're not serving dead people. Don't sue me, Arby's. You're just making dead people with your terrible fucking food that isn't food. So just stop completely. Look, our Arby's. I mean, look, it's trash. But what's funny is whenever people come out to defend it, they will always say something like, "Well, yeah, but the shakes, the shakes." Okay, it's not called shakes. It's called Arby's. It's designed around, like, their entire promotion is called, we've got the meats and come eat our gross giant stack of meat. That is what they lead with. So when you come back and you go, "Yeah, but the curly fries though," again, fuck you with your curly fries. I'm sure the curly fries are delightful, except they're stored next to that whatever ungodly formula makes up the meat. So it's not food. That's the flaw. There's a million places you can eat. Why are you going to Arby's? Why are you doing that to yourself? I mean, the comic book equivalent is you love comics. You want to continue to read comics. You want to continue to invest in pop culture. And the only book you're buying, the only one, is Gwenpool. That's it. You're buying nothing else but Gwenpool. And why would you do that to yourself? You're crazy. Anyway, let's get past the Arby's question. Anyway, Arby's is trash. I mean, come on. What's funny is there's an entire kind of generation of people, and small group of people who have listened to this channel for years. And every time, long after this channel is done, long after it's over, they will drive past an Arby's and they'll remember how much I hate that fucking place. And that is my legacy. Not comics, hate Arby's. All right. So we'll get to the next part of the question. It goes, but in all seriousness, my real question is this. With a bunch of conventions coming up this summer and into the fall, what is it going to take for there to be a truly awe-inspiring big moment in comics that people can get excited about? I listen to a lot of podcasts and different shows, and people pretend to be excited about comics like, "Hey, there's a new Hawk Girl comic coming out." By the way, I got news for you. I got an advanced copy of that Hawk Girl. You are not going to enjoy it, but we'll see. Or the latest Marvel crossover or lame promotion that they're doing. But what is it going to take to get genuine excitement happening at these shows? Good question. By the way, I always leave out the thank you. A lot of you write really nice stuff at the end, and I always feel ashamed to read it on the air. Like it's always very nice. I do appreciate that. I appreciate all the nice comments. A lot of you have written in expressing concern, dislike the idea the channel is winding down. It's touching. Thank you. It's great. Now, I want all of you who do that to go just troll and attack Mumbles in the comments. That's what I want you to do. Anyway, okay, moving on. What's it going to take to get genuine excitement? Well, first of all, if I'm being hyper-logical here, I think it's time that we all admit something, and that's that comic conventions, Comic Cons, are largely not for comic readers. They're for cosplayers. They're for people interested kind of in pop culture. They're interested in going to a party, but this isn't the target demo that are buying the comics. There's lots and lots and lots of proof of that. The people who go to the show, the people who dress up and all the rest of that kind of stuff. It's cool. Good for you. Very exciting, as they say. But it's not, this isn't a group of, people who arguably are going to get excited about comics in the same way. It's different. This is a group of people where if they introduce, I mean, like, in all seriousness, when San Diego Comic-Con comes in a few weeks and you get the Hellfire Gala, that they're doing a real-life Hellfire Gala sponsored by Disney, whatever it is, the Disney, Disney, sponsored by Disney, fuck it. That's likely going to be very popular. That likely will get people excited because you're hosting a dress-up event at the dress-up event. And that's just what the comic convention is now. And the publishers know this. That's why a lot of the news that they put out, the PR and everything else, increasingly has less and less to do with comics. Once upon a time, if I go back to 2006 or 2007, Comic-Con had major announcements. Whichever one, the comic convention where I was on a panel, there was major announcements that were going on around, books being signed, artists coming in, major plot developments, everything else. There's less and less of that now. If you go to Newsarama or CBR or Bleeding Cool or wherever it happens to be, and you're tracking over the weekend of San Diego Comic-Con, there's just less. There's less news. Now, keep in mind, there's still the same level of quote unquote news out there. They're still doing storylines. They're still going to have crossovers. They're going to launch new books. I mean, hell, they're canceling and restarting books all the time. So arguably, there's more news than there was in 2006. It's just a lot of that news is not news anyone cares about. And the publishers know that their audience that's showing up to the show doesn't really care either. And so they're just not bothering to say anything. That's a shame, right? So, what's it going to take to get people excited? Well, who? If it's comic fans, comic collectors, I'd argue a better way to do it is not bother with the announcements around the comic convention anymore, and instead have a good news cycle where you drop one or two, pretty compelling news bits a week over the course of 4 months, and you'll build a lot of enthusiasm and excitement and energy that way. It's probably going to be a better way to do it. But the kind of things that are going to get people excited now, I mean, unfortunately, I think, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, I think the thing that would get people most excited about the big two, and I think the trial balloon was what they're doing with Dawn of DC and some of that stuff. You take a guy like Mark Waid, who's had a colorful past, let's say, online, and the fact that he's writing these books which feel like they play to classic comic fans. The Teen Titans books he's doing, the other material, it's not necessarily all in on just nostalgia, but it has that feel to it. It's well received. In fact, the parts of DC's universe right now that are probably the best received, it is the stuff that is playing to the past. And the stuff that is acknowledging kind of the vast history and legacy of comics, and it's dipping into that. That's what is working. And so if you're Marvel, basically playing up that past is probably going to do well. If, for example, you announce that the X-Men is going back to a badder, dangerous era that will, be reminiscent of the X-Men around, issue 200 back in the Claremont Romita days, that probably gets a decent amount of excitement. If you announce that there's a brand new, Gamma Flight book that will be joining the Alpha Flight book spinning out of the Age of Krakoa, I don't think anybody's going to give a shit about that. So I think that classic probably plays pretty well. I think some creators who are well-loved, who are getting work again, probably plays pretty well. I mean, hell, if you really want to make a big splash at Comic-Con, I think you would do something that sounds completely crazy, and it's this. You come out and you say, hey, we have just announced these 24 books, or DC, whatever. We've got these 24 titles. All of these titles are ongoing. All of these titles will be around for 2 years. All these titles are signed with writers who will be on the book for 2 years. Now, granted, anything could happen. Guy could fall off a truck or, run into a, depression, vortex or whatever else. There's lots of stuff that could happen. But, our intention is 2 years, ongoing books, these 24, this is what you can count on. Here's what you got. And you'll notice a lot of really familiar characters. We're going to just tell really kick-ass stories. We're not going to try anything cute and crazy. And by the way, of the 24 titles, 22 of them are not all Batman books. So, that's good news. I think that probably moves the needle more than anything. The uncertainty in the comic industry, the antidote to that would be coming out and saying, hey, here's some certainty. Here's something you can count on for the next year. That's what we're leading with. Something you can count on. And yet, let's say you're DC and secretly in the halls of upper management at DC, you don't know if Zaslav or Discovery's going to come around like tomorrow and just fire and shit can everyone and stop printing comics. I mean, that could happen, but you can't build a strategy around that fear. So go out with like, guys, hey, we've got a blank check right now in comics. People aren't checking up on us. The corporate overlords that are paying our bills are not paying attention day to day. So you know what? We're going to use that opportunity to just say, give people what they want and do the best possible job. So our press release is 2 years you can count on. These are the books. This is what we're doing. And, we're going all in with you. In some ways, it doesn't even matter too much what those books are. But if you provided that certainty to the industry in this very uncertain time, you win big. I'm positive of it. So that's what I would do to move the needle. Otherwise, I don't know. You can announce that they formed a partnership with, Spirit stores at Halloween to be open extra hours to sell lots of dumb costumes and shit. They could do that. I don't know. Anyway, what moves the needle for you? What would you like? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for listening.